I'm a night owl, and I'm a homebody, which means that I watch a lot of late night television. This led me to think about today's list. Who was on the Mount Rushmore of late night talk show hosts? The first head on that mountain popped into my head immediately, and for good reason. He was the undisputed king of late night for 30 years until he retired in 1992. He would sit on his late night throne while 7 US presidents would come and leave the White House. In 2006, TV Land compiled a list of the 100 greatest TV quotes and catchphrases of all time. Number 2 on that list was Neil Armstrong's "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Beating that for the number 1 spot, the introduction to the man that really doesn't need an introduction, here's Johnny. Johnny Carson, the Standard. He spent 3 decades hosting The Tonight Show beginning in 1962. Other famous names at the time, Bob Newhart, Groucho Marx, Joey Bishop, Jackie Gleason, had all declined the chance to host, making way for the man who would become king to take the reins. There was a time when there were only 3 networks to turn on. No cable, no internet, no YouTube. If you stayed awake on a weekday night, you were watching Carson. Sometimes the only reason you were awake was to watch him. He was brilliant, he was witty, his timing was pristine. He was a master at turning a joke that had just bombed into one of the funniest bits of the whole hour. He was a natural behind the desk, and his talent would shine the brightest when interviewing the guest, exactly because he would never try to outshine them. He had so much influence he could turn an unknown into a star overnight. Johnny Carson is partly responsible for helping to launch the careers of some pretty big power hitters. Jerry Seinfeld, Ellen DeGeneres, Joan Rivers, Roseanne Barr, and the second head on our mountain, the one man who could truly rival Carson's throne, David Letterman. David Letterman, the trailblazer. He was a pioneer, practically reinventing the whole talk show genre. His show, Late Night with David Letterman, would premiere in 1982 on NBC. Being that it would come on right after The Tonight Show at 12:30 in the morning, Carson would give them strict rules to follow. No sidekick, no guests that were regulars on The Tonight Show, no duplicating Johnny's signature pieces. For somebody else, maybe those rules might have stifled the creative flow, possibly even leading to failure. For Letterman and his crew, it actually opened the floodgates of creativity, innovating what many refer to as the anti-talk show. A groundbreaking show which, among other things, dissected the formula of the late night genre. And he did this right in front of the television viewing audience. He was sharp, he was intelligent, he was a self-aware smartass who was mocking the absurdity of show business. He brought in guests that no one knew. He gave bands that no one had heard of a shot. He gave us stupid pet tricks, stupid human tricks, his top 10 list. When he infamously lost the battle to replace his idol, the newly retired Johnny Carson, for The Tonight Show, he packed up and moved to CBS, single-handedly making the network a serious player in the late night game. This year, Letterman announced that he'll retire in 2015. When he does, he will have spent 33 years in late night, making him the longest-running late-night talk show host in US television history, and one of its leading architects. So, in 1993, when Letterman left NBC to head to CBS, late night needed a new leader. No one was ever going to truly replace Dave, but those in charge of finding his replacement looked at this as an opportunity to take a chance on breaking someone young, fresh, and new. In the end, the powers that be decided to go with a writer. A true genius at comedic writing whose work on Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons are things of legend, but who had extremely limited experience in front of the camera, especially as the host of a major network television show. But now, with more than 20 years on the air and counting in late night, the third head on that mountain, Conan O'Brien. It's hard to follow so many greats and make something feel fresh and exciting. Throughout the years, Conan has managed to do so. Conan rides the line between remarkably smart and truly silly, almost dumb even, but never half-baked. On any given day, he's one of the smartest guys in the room, as well as the funniest. Stunts and sketches that seem so juvenile are carefully crafted that way from an extremely intelligent human being and his crew. Oh yeah, let's not forget about his crew. His first gang of writers, which included Louis C.K., Robert Smigel, and Bob Odenkirk. Yep, Bob Odenkirk, the man who would become Saul, Walter White's lawyer on Breaking Bad. We can thank Conan for introducing hilarious sketches and recurring characters like the Masturbating Bear, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, in the year 2000, if they made it. He takes absurdity to the extreme, while also adding in his own brand of physical comedy. Conan has taken the hosting seat for 3 different late-night talk shows. Late Night and The Tonight Show on NBC, and his current show, Conan on TBS. Late Night and The Tonight Show are true staples in American culture. The current host is Jimmy Fallon, who I like. He truly seems to be a natural at the job. The fourth head on that mountain, however, belongs to the first. The man that pretty much created The Tonight Show, Steve Allen. Steve Allen, the originator. What would The Tonight Show be without Steve Allen? Actually, without Steve Allen, there probably wouldn't even be a Tonight Show at all, at least not in the format that we're used to seeing today. It's his blueprint that the late night talk show was invented from. He gave us the format that we don't even think much about today. It's a given that when you tune in to watch a late night talk show, you're going to see an opening monologue, banter with the audience, a house band with a band leader, your favorite celebrity interviewed at the desk of the host, comedy sketches, crazy stunts, bits where the camera is taken outside of the studio. Allen gave us all of that rolled into his hybrid of talk show and variety show. Most didn't think the show was going to last. The time slot was untried for a talk show, but because of Alan's intelligence, talent, creativity, and appeal, 60 years later we're still enjoying his formula. So there you have it, my Mount Rushmore of late night talk show hosts. Johnny Carson, David Letterman, Conan O'Brien, and Steve Allen. As always, subscribe to Gong's channel, and if you disagree with my list, let me know who you would put on your Mount Rushmore by leaving a comment below. I'll leave you with a quote from Johnny Carson. Talent alone won't make you a success. Neither will being in the right place at the right time unless you are ready. The most important question, are you ready? See you next time when I carve out the Mount Rushmore of sexiest movie moments.